When I was 12 years old, my mother would come home exhausted every day from her work, and every time she would come home from work, her knees would be swollen, her ankles too, and she would be absolutely exhausted. She also woke up at 4 a.m. in the deepest of the winters, and she had a lot of negative feelings. And so every time she would come home from work, even though I was only 12 years old, I was playing a lot of games. I was quite a happy kid, but every time she came home from work, I would stop whatever I was doing, even if it was a game of Fortnite or World of Warcraft, any serious activity. I dropped it. I went straight down the stairs. I went to her, took off her jacket, told her that I loved her, and I said, "Mommy, when I'm 18 years old, you will never have to work again. I promise you." I don't know how, but I will do it. And so, ever since then, I had really set myself a goal. I don't know how I would do it, but I just knew I had to get freedom for my mother. And so that was when I really discovered YouTube. I used to watch PewDiePie growing up. I don't know if you know him, one of the most popular YouTubers. He did a lot of gaming videos. And so initially I didn't make too many gaming videos. I just experimented a bit, and then I got a viral video. And so out of that one video, I had earned $5 or something like that. And the interesting thing is then I realized, wait a second, this really could work. It was only $5, but that was when I really realized that making money was all of a sudden possible. And so during this time I was in primary school. So I only did YouTube on this side. I focused mainly on school, but I had to realize that school was number one and then YouTube number two. I wasn't going to throw my whole life away just for... Of course, I wanted my mother's freedom, but I also needed to realize that school was just as important. So when I was 14, 15, back in 2020, I used to make a lot of, I remember ASMR videos. I made Minecraft videos, I made Apex Legends ASMR videos. Still up there, by the way, on my YouTube channel, VCaliber. I used to play and record my hands while I was playing. And so I did that, and then when Among Us blew up in 2020 when was that? That was 2020 Among Us. Yes, that was October, something like that. I made Among Us ASMR videos. And that actually started to not blow up, but I gained a few hundred subscribers. I had like 600, 700 subscribers. But this was not really anything that would, get me freedom, let alone get my mother freedom. And so my first breakthrough was in December of 2022 when I made random meme videos. It was just like 30-second. It was called shitpost status, like these meme videos where you would post some Gen Z humor memes and with some anime like explicit images on the thumbnails. It was it was very strange actually, but those videos somehow ended up getting millions of views in just a span of a few months. I managed to get monetized. I managed to get a few thousand subscribers. I think I got 30,000 subscribers, and I had earned $1,500. And so the problem was though that this died off like that. Like it was just virality. And after that, I was still in primary school, but I was in my last year of primary school when it dropped out. So what I decided to do was take a gap year off when I finished primary school in 2021, summer of 2021. And so I just wanted to see if I could do this for a year because I wasn't really enjoying school too much at this point. I didn't really see if I could do YouTube like seriously. So I started grinding for quite some time, a few months, on a smaller game called RimWorld. I knew that the competition in bigger games was way higher. And for a few months, it again stayed like this. And then after a few months of making tutorials, long episodes, everything, nothing was really working. So I said, why don't I try these memes again, except within the game? Yeah, some kind of meme. And so I made like a simple meme video, and I was like, well, there's no way this would blow up. But the thing is, though, that the thing you least expect to go viral is the thing that goes viral. And you cannot predict it. You cannot like look at something and then go, oh, this will never blow up, and then expect it to blow up. It will come so unexpectedly, so suddenly. And so this meme video blew up. I got my gaming channel monetized. And then I started making shorts about this game, and that really started to take off as well. So halfway through my gap year, everything started to change. And once I got back to high school after the 1 year, the channel was still doing fine. But I was again relying on shorts, gaming shorts, and so I needed to try out something new. So I started copying the 100-day format from Minecraft and applied it to my game RimWorld. And so I had a successful format where it was quite long. I could build a sustainable audience and gain a sustainable amount of revenue. I went from $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000 in my first few months of high school. This was 2022. And so I was in high school and I was grinding out videos and then trying to do school at the same time. And I was a bit stressed, if I'm honest. My grades were not as it was in primary school. High school, then it was not as good. And so after a few months, there was also a big update for my game RimWorld. And so I had made $5,000 in a month, and so YouTube was doing really well, and then school was not doing so well. I came into a test one day, and I remember looking at the Pythagorean theorem, and I literally couldn't figure it out. I was like, what the hell is this? So after that test, I dropped it. I was like, I cannot do this. I went onto the bus, onto the train, and I started to cry on the train. I was really wondering what I should do, because I had to choose one path. And so once I got back home, turned out I had COVID the whole time. And so that was the reason that I really didn't do so well. I had the worst headache ever, but I didn't really know that then. Went back home, had a family discussion, and this came from mostly a rational but also a bit of an emotional side. I just couldn't do both at the same time. And at this point, I really wanted to do YouTube. I really had a passion for it. It wasn't perfect. I still struggled for years to do YouTube, failure and going through adversity. But now that the channel was doing well, I decided to drop out of high school. And then before I was 20 years old, I could always go back to high school. So I dropped out of high school and I was going to go all in on YouTube. And ever since then, even only 3-4 months after I dropped out, which was December 2022, in March of 2023, I made my first $10,000 with YouTube. And so I really didn't expect it to come like this, because I didn't think that money was the goal. I had freedom as the goal, and freedom for myself and for my mother. And because I love doing YouTube as well, it's almost like doing what I love made me do it to such a point where it just exploded. the real happiness for me, though, was not the money itself. It was being able to see the look on my mother's face when I retired her and told her that she never would have to work again. Just 6 months, no, not even that, 5 months after making $10,000, I made $20,000 in a month. And so my life completely changed. And that's when I realized that sometimes success comes from love. It sounds cliche, really. But it didn't come from greed itself. The want for money. It was the goal for freedom, and the money just happened to follow. And so I really do love that I did this for my mother, and that my mother is truly free. It's probably the best thing that has happened. And yeah, that is basically my story. I'm going to continue making sure my mother has the best life possible. And I really wish her, I bless her the best. And I hope you learned something too. I wish you the best. Stay blessed by the best. And I'll see you in the next one.